You Europeans, you are sheltered. You can go here down the streets. You have walls of faces of people that have been kidnapped here in some public transportation. You can see pictures of people missing announcement. You don't have that in Europe.
If you would live in a country like Mexico, you would understand why a gun is needed. People always like to talk about how democracy is the best thing in the world. Yes, you don't have the tyranny of the monarchs anymore, but you do have the tyranny of the majority.
One thing I consider shocking are the rent prices. Grocery and rent, it's almost in the same category as when you go to Europe.
In Mexico, there's also some problem with immigration, but it's in a different way. People that have higher wages come to Mexico.
Like digital nomads.
And they're able to pay more for the rents.
Rent prices go up because of supply and demand. If there's a hot area, it's a lot more people moving in, population is growing, and you are not able to build higher, better, bigger. No, I'm sorry to say that, but then prices will go up. Hello.
Hello.
No, I'm gonna take this off. Hi guys, welcome back to the Underachiever Show. Another episode with me and my co-host Sebastian.
Co-host.
You are also a host at this point.
I guess I am.
You are.
And
you are
the
officially part of an Underachiever club.
Because I am an underachiever.
You are.
Is it like a worldwide club of people that are good for many things, but not.
Yes, everybody who is still doom scrolling instead of doing something. At least that's what the motivational speakers would say to you.
Are the kids also underachievers?
The kids?
The dogs.
The 40-year-old children?
The 40-year-old children that are not good for anything. They just eat dog
the
food.
Liabilities.
Yeah. The first time I heard this term from her, that their dogs at that point, at this point of her life, were liabilities. I laughed so much because it's true. Dogs are liabilities.
Ah, pobrecitos now. We love them very much. They are our little babies, but we do tease them. We do have a dark humor.
We do have a dark humor about the dogs, yeah, definitely. They deserve it. They are a bit of a mess. Like they're very nice.
The problem is I have never trained them so well because when we were in the
trained them.
I have trained
the dumbest things that you could train a dog about, but you have.
Listen, the dogs, Jalapeno's smart. Habanero's a little bit on the slower side.
He's dumb.
But baby.
What?
He's a bit on the slower side.
They don't understand.
Yeah, but they do.
No, he's not dumb. He's very.
He's very sweet, and he wants to cuddle all the time. But he's a bit slow. He is just also not so agile. But I think it's because he didn't.
But not physically.
It
he's
depends.
Just slow here.
He is a bit slow, but the problem is that he. I think it's because he had so many ticks. When I first
How does that correlate?
Because
I explained to you correlation and causation.
I know, but I'm saying because because when I found him he was always like, that's how I found him. He was always shaking. He was poor him. When I got him from the beach, his eyes were red, and he was very sweet. I tell you the story, guys. So I have this big white dog. His name is Habanero, and the other one is Jalapeno, obviously. The majority of you know them. Habanero, he hasn't been so much in the frame because I didn't film. Habanero was laying on the beach. No, we were parked on the beach somewhere in Veracruz, Mexico. And there were a bunch of street dogs. And I always have the feeder tendency of wanting to feed street dogs.
I've seen this.
You should see his belly. There, he was so skinny. He's still sort of
So now you're talking about my belly.
Sorry, my ADHD brain. So no, so you were a bit slimmer, and now you have a belly because I keep feeding you.
Yeah,
Everyone knows
like
I kept
that belly because
exactly. Everyone knows I just love to feed people. So I went out in Veracruz and I was feeding different dogs at different times, and whenever I saw a street dog, I would give him food. Habanero, he was also on the beach, And he was a loner. He didn't had a gang. A lot of
Mhm.
other dogs, they had a pack. And he came and he was near my van, and I gave him food. And he was so sweet, and he licked me, and he was still a bit slow. He didn't move so much, but he was still very sweet.
Mhm.
And he was the only dog, besides of all the other dogs I fed, that stayed with me in the van. Like, he stayed on the beach all night. He dug himself a little sand cave, like a, how to say, like a sand cave, no?
Yeah, like a little hole.
Like a little hole. And he laid there and he fell asleep with us. And I was feeling so, oh, poor him. He has nobody and he's so cute. And then the next morning he was gone and I only saw his little hole. And I thought, oh, because I thought if he stayed over the night, I would have I said, okay, I'm going to take him. I said, I don't actually want to adopt another dog, but if I just want to keep him in case maybe I find another family or for him adoption. But since I am an underachieving procrastinator, I never gave him free for adoption. No, but then and the funny thing is, so he left in the morning.
But wait, you would have like given him for adoption? Like once you took him, or did you?
I took him just because I thought I'm gonna feed him a little bit more, take care of him a bit more, because I felt bad for him.
But you didn't necessarily want to
I
keep him.
didn't necessarily wanted to
Oh.
keep him, because I was in one van
Yeah,
with
yeah,
already one dog. no?
Already a crazy dog.
A crazy small dog. Ja, jalapeno.
Talking about the devil.
Ja, por favor. Mach Platz. Okay. So, Habanero
This is
then...
our life, by the way.
This is our life. Habanero then... He then... Yes, I'm talking about you, brother.
He's
My
like
son.
he's like a 50-year-old dude.
He's so cute.
He's not a kid anymore.
It's because the reason also why I took him was because he has the complete opposite character than Jalapeno. Jalapeno never wants to cuddle with me.
Mhm.
And you know that girls always want what they can't have. So,
Is that a thing?
so obviously when he came and gave me all the love I never got from my other pet, it was hard to not take him. Anyway, so the next morning, continuing the story finally, he came back to the van. I was cooking and I was already ready to pack my things and continue driving.
Mhm.
And just before 10 minutes before I was finishing, I was just washing the dishes, and I turned around because my whole van door was open, and I saw him sitting there, and he was just looking, and then I said, "Oh," and I just took him, pushed him in the van, and we drove to another city, and then in some river or so, I tried to wash him. Because I thought he's in my van and he still needs to be clean.
And
we are van lifers, but we are never dirty.
And
as
now
you
we
see.
cannot get rid of him.
He's family now. What are you saying? Pobrecito, my
Yes, he
son.
is.
My son. Okay. Well, in today's episode,
Today's episode. Yeah, that was a big intro.
that was a very big intro, guys.
It's just
but
like because like you are ADHD and ADHD, is that the word? Yeah, English.
I mean, we're trying our best.
Yeah.
To
Funnily
speak
enough,
as-
none of our first language is English. I mean, I do speak English, like since I am a bit not so little, but somewhat young. But yeah, it's still hard to just talk and completely be able to express yourself.
It's normal. I mean, you have lights there, lights
But you're
there.
used to it a bit more, no?
Yeah, I'm more used to it, so I can be a bit more natural because I don't feel so pressured.
Yeah. But anyway, today we wanted to talk a bit about what is it like to move around so much, and what are like the different cultural difference. The cultural
You know what I'm
differences
saying?
between
You have to be more precise and short.
Yeah, I cannot. This is just the brain that I have. This is the brain that nature and God gave me,
Wait,
or
there is
whatever,
this.
and I cannot do
There's
anything
this
about
super
it.
funny meme about INTPs because he's an INTP. For the ones that knows, he's an INTP. I am an ENFP, and there's this really funny meme that I'm gonna show you here. The imagination that he has in the brain and the words
And
that come.
just the complete like puke that I just put out when I talk. Yes, it's a
It's
thing.
okay.
But anyway, I don't care. We wanted to talk about the cultural differences between probably what you know most, which is maybe Germany, and many other countries that you know maybe from Europe, and maybe Mexico and Latin America, because right now you're currently in Mexico.
Yeah.
But you have also traveled around in some other Latin American countries. And so, I don't know, what do you think is the most shocking cultural difference between
The most shocking.
Latin America and maybe Germany? Because Germany is also very specific from what you have told me from other countries in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shocking. I mean, I wouldn't say shocking, but one thing I consider shocking is, at least here in Mexico City, where we currently are and live, are the rent prices. The rent prices are literally almost, in food prices, grocery and rent, it's almost in the same category as when you go to Europe. I think also because, I mean, when you go to Germany, they have a lot of agriculture in Europe, right? I don't know if you have so much agriculture. I think you still do.
You do.
But there's also at least products as like pasta or more packed products, right? Peanut butter.
I would say that it's like all of the things that are imported.
All the things, yeah, exactly. And because you have these tariffs, I think you have tariffs, right? You have tariffs here?
Every country has tariffs and things.
Oh, okay. Well,
So yes, but I
but
understand what you mean.
But
yeah.
when you're in Europe and they import things from
the European
Italy,
Union, they have these special benefits within countries, and they import certain things cheaper. Like some people from like Germany are gonna find Italian products cheaper because of the European Union, not because
Exactly.
of this coalition of
and
countries.
it blew my mind. I mean, now we are still paying quite little rent because we are trying to save up. Eventually, we're moving out to a different country at some point, right? Yeah, when I first came here, and I'm realizing, wow, all the people here, they earn compared to Europe. So in Europe, I would say the minimum wage at this point right now is like after tax is about 1,400, 1,500 euro.
Mhm.
And here, I think the average wage is about 700 euro.
I think it's
Dollars, I mean, dollars, euros.
it is around like 300.
No. Dollars?
Yeah, a month. Like the minimum. I don't know exactly, but I can.
The minimum wage? I thought it was.
Minimum. Also, you're in the city and people earn a bit more.
But it's like 6,000 pesos, no?
Yes.
That's the minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can confirm it right now, but it's even lower than you think, because in the city the city tends to be a bit more of a productive sector in the country, and so people normally earn more money, and since they live here and things are more expensive, you can not have minimum
how
wage.
can you, like, it's impossible to find a place, an apartment for this amount of money. It's a good and a bad thing, because a lot of because of financial difficulties, families also tend to live together, no? So whereas in Europe you have people, it's very common for German people to already move out when you're 18. It's more common here even to stay with your whole family when you're old, which is financially kind of smarter. But sure, it can make you maybe eventually a bit less.
Yeah, it's around $400 a month.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm not lying. At least when the people live here in the city, the rents are almost the same as in Germany, and the food. Some things are cheaper, like vegetables, maybe eggs, fruit, but meat almost is the same. Sometimes more expensive, and then every other product like yogurts, butter and milk. Butter is way more expensive here than in Germany, and that just blew my mind, because I thought always how on earth is it possible that people survive with such low income? They, I really don't know how they do it. And there's this whole obviously problem arising here in Mexico City. And last week there was a big protest here near our
It's also a bit
neighborhood.
different from what is happening in Europe. There's more like, people are have problems a bit more with like immigrants going there. But I mean more in terms like economically, the people that come from outside more normally, like when we're talking about not, specified highly productive workers.
Yeah.
Some people immigrate even from here to another country and
Yeah.
also from outside to Mexico. Some of them are highly skilled. They have some knowledge that are required in the industry and they get paid very well. But let's say for that, like the normal workers in Europe, the thing is that, they come in, they take advantage of the welfare system and so on.
Not all, of course, but
Not all,
sure.
but they're integrated into the economy and
I mean,
society.
I even know people that do. You know?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm not even gonna say if it's bad or wrong. It's just what is happening, and people are like talking about it. In Mexico, it's funny because there's also some problem with immigration, but it's in a different way.
Yeah.
It's this phenomenon of gentrification where people that normally have higher wages come to work to Mexico.
Like digital nomads, a lot of digital nomads.
Yeah, they work remotely.
From the US or Europe, like me.
Yeah,
Like I'm part of the problem.
In a way, but not so much. What ends up happening is that they enter into these parts of the city. They pay rent in
certain areas
where maybe some Mexican people used to live there for on their cheaper rent prices, and they are able and they are willing to pay more for the rents. And also that opens the door for a lot of companies to invest in properties, and they put them, for example, in Airbnb and things like this, no? And that enables them to make more money. And there is this whole system or this whole change in the system where a lot of these people are pushed out of their neighborhoods and they need to move to outer places of the city, and for the same amount of money that they maybe were already paying. They also bring new businesses into this area because a lot of times these foreigners come and they put their own businesses. But it also has some good effects, like they put capital into these neighborhoods and the security gets better, like the stores and the houses and the apartments get renovated, and it generally like creates like a renewal atmosphere into the thing. But there was a big like protest,
there was a big protest, but of course most of the times the protests are aimed at the wrong things. Like it is not practical to destroy businesses, especially also if there are Mexican businesses. It doesn't make any sense, just like when we were at BMM, like of course you should be vocal about what you stand for, but what's the point in destroying other people's property or public property, which then at the end will be repaired or cleaned by tax money, which then you basically or everyone else has to clean for. No, it's not very smart. But at the same time, there's also, I mean, I always say that there's good things in violence too. Hear me out, because like when you I was thinking that the other day, when you want things to change, and I mean talking about big change, no matter if it was the French Revolution or the independence of America, or many other revolution had to be violent in some way for things to shift, right? But I would say more towards governments than towards businesses. How do you call people that are against governments? Rebels.
Well, for example, normally the right wingers tend to be a bit more against government, but not so much. Libertarians are, for example.
A bit more, yeah.
Yeah, they are, and also they have differences. They
Yeah.
can be less like normal to more extreme in terms of that.
Yeah, so that's the whole problem they have here in Mexico, which I also understand for the people that used to live here and had this.
What's all violence is the answer.
I'm not saying.
I'm always debating
Can-
her on these things because sometimes she has like these ideas, and I'm just thinking,
Sometimes
I don't think you have thought this through enough.
the thing is, sometimes I'm here and I'm giving a speech to no one, and I just want a revolution to start for things to change.
Yeah, well, but the thing is that back in the day, you know, all of these movements basically started because there was no political system for the regular people to have a voice to even like, you know, take part of it.
Right.
Or at least it was not.
At least it
very
was not
efficient.
democratic as it
Yeah.
is today.
Most of these things were actually for to put the democracy system into a lot of these countries.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why back in the day also people were more violent. Nowadays you don't even have to do that. It's just you can just cast your vote. Either way, there are still problems.
There are still problems, but you know, I have a way better idea. We should create a government app which is connected to all the citizens. I mean, they are going to push digital IDs anyway, you know? So everyone should be able to. I mean, we have to think it through. No, it's not completely. I didn't work it out completely in its best form. But we should be able to give people a voting directly, not just to vote a representative or vote someone in their state or state, right? To then represent you with the eventual ideas. I think we should give people a power to directly vote on certain issue, even though I know some people might not have the exact whole knowledge about every issue.
Yeah.
But for that, maybe you can implement a test. Like you have to first have a specific knowledge about certain issues and then able to vote on certain issues. But even then, I know it sounds a bit silly because then you say, oh, what about the people that have a lower IQ? They are not being represented, no? But sometimes it's too many minds that go in different direction, and it's hard to represent a country with so many different individuals, right? Sometimes you just have to just let other people make better decision in some cases.
Yeah,
Whatever is
that's kind of
considered
like the
better.
idea of the political system.
Sure.
No? Is that you choose somebody to represent you that is like capable, not somebody that has the knowledge. Even though politicians in general don't have knowledge at all, they have political knowledge.
They have some knowledge, but they have a lot of
them,
advisors. They have a lot of advisors anyway.
They have advisors, and a lot of times it's just like a corrupt thing
I would
that they have
agree.
advisors that they pay, and they have a lot of these like movements of
Yeah.
money within these advisors and so
Yeah.
on. But anyway, the point is that I don't think they actually know much because the political system is based on the idea that everybody gets taxed. It's not based on merit necessarily.
Merit?
Yeah,
What
it's
does it
not
has to do
like
with
a
tax?
company. Yeah, because let's say if you want to sell something, you need people to buy it. You need some merit, and you need to deliver a product or service in order for them to buy things from you. But if you have politicians, they don't need any merit. You can just, trick people into voting you to get into power.
You said that they trick people into voting for them. What do you mean by that?
A politician can be educated, but it's not necessarily a prerequisite. You can be a politician if you want, which is fine. I don't mean to say that only somebody that has a certain amount of knowledge or like a
What
college
kind
degree.
of?
You don't need necessarily.
That's ridiculous. You have to kind of know. I mean, you
Nobody
cannot.
knows everything.
Sure, you have to have advice, but you have to have some certain knowledge about. In my opinion,
I would
used
say
to think like that because how can you, I don't know, be a technician? You have fucking no knowledge about what you're doing. In any other job, you're
but the
required to
problem
have
is-
some knowledge.
Yes, but the problem is that a politician handles a very broad spectrum of subjects. Like a politician has, let's say, if you pick a senator or whatever, no, like a congressman or woman,
They're
that person
specific.
is gonna vote on certain laws that person has really no idea about, like
Yeah,
the topics. Let's
true.
say the energy and like
'Cause they're-
mining and like hundreds and hundreds of things that they do not have the time and the knowledge to even like cast a proper vote
That's
because they
true.
don't. That's why they have the advisors, no?
Advisors.
But that's what I'm saying. I personally
Which is then funny because some politicians then will just act based on whatever the person they trust advise them to do, and that person has obviously his own way of thinking, which might not also.
I mean, it all comes back to ideology. It is you get along with the people that underlyingly have the same ideology as you. No, it's like because that gives that person and the other a base that they
Of
agree on,
trust.
and then the decisions on that base, the ramifications of that central ideology is what drives all of the decisions that they make. No, it's like, for example, let's say the Democratic Party and the Republican Party in the US. Well, they kind of vote on the same direction always. Like the Republican Party right now votes more in general with what Trump says. Like all of them go into one direction because there is like a central ideology, and that, like, if you talk about it, it's more deep. What do they think? What do they believe in? What do the Democrats believe in? Why do they vote the things that they vote? And sometimes there are people that deviate, even though they are in the same party.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's not even that they necessarily believe so much in it. It's just like politics.
You mean you don't believe in their policies?
There are people that are in the Democratic Party, or there are people that are in the Republican Party that somewhat aligned with the general ideology from the party, but they
deviate.
But a lot of times they might even be completely like not against, but like very neutral towards it, but they make a political decision. They align with the party that has more strength to get into power, or because
but you mean smaller coalitions?
Yes, and they are important because a lot of times that's what changes the dynamic
vote.
of the
It's like
the
the
Senate.
swing states, right?
Yes.
They are very important.
The coalitions are very important because sometimes it's like, oh, but your party is very small. You have like 2 Congress people there. Like, what are you gonna do? Well, those 2 votes can be the change of passing a law or not passing a law, depending on the dynamic. But the thing about that is that politics and power is a sum-zero game. You either have power or you don't have it, or the other people have it. That's why a lot of times the decisions that they make are political driven and not necessarily from a place of expertise. That's why I don't trust the system so much in that sense, because politicians, they don't know. Second, they will vote in terms of what is better for them, not necessarily
what allows them to actually, because otherwise they are in the government with no saying, then what's the point of their work, right? If not to have some influence in general.
They can still be an opposition to others. That can be their role that they have.
To just vote against certain things, you mean?
Yeah. To not let the opposition get more grasp on power, which is kind of the idea of the political system.
Which is also interesting because at the end of the day, if it's a real democracy, the people vote anyway for whatever they want to be the dominant power or structure to be, right? At the end, at least in the democracy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people always like to talk about how democracy is the best thing in the world because we fought so much for it. And yes, in a way, it's probably the best system, but it is quite imperfect and there are problems to it. There is the problem of like you're literally, there is this idea of like, yes, you don't have the tyranny of the monarchs anymore. You don't have a king telling you what to do. Like, and if you don't, they kill you. Or make you. But you don't have the tyranny of the majority. What the majority of people decide, you don't have a saying on it. You have to do it.
It's funny.
Well, but that is the reason why, for example, a lot of countries have constitutions. Some people don't understand this, but constitutions literally are there to protect us from the government itself and also from all the other people in the country.
Does Mexico have a constitution?
Yes,
Yeah?
but the thing is that like a lot of constitutions derive from like the U.S. Constitution,
Right.
but a lot of and the U.S. Constitution have been a bit bastardized throughout time. Like
They've added clauses.
yeah,
and
they have
things.
added things. The idea of a constitution is just, and it comes from these enlightened ideas, is just that you have natural rights and you have a right to your
Of
life, to the
property.
freedom, to property, and so on.
Freedom of speech and to live.
And
right?
and so the idea is not to add, or at least that was the idea of the founding fathers, is not to add a lot of things that humans required. It's just more so like, we want you to live your life however you want. These are the rights. The government, nor like the people or the masses can, you know, make you do something that goes against these natural rights. But a lot of
Right.
times, like Mexican Constitution and a lot of other constitutions in other countries, are very idealistic. No, in Mexico, for example, there's a lot of things in the Constitution that say like you have a right to food and water and a healthcare system, but none of these things work correctly.
Oh,
'Cause it
okay.
doesn't matter if it's on a paper. Like, what matters is that it works, but it doesn't, because it has to do with more than what is written in the Constitution. It's more
Mhm.
like, what are the system bases for that to even work?
Mm.
But I'm not a big fan of putting all of these things on as rights, because for me it doesn't make much sense.
Well, the thing is, I've heard, one time someone said to me, the more, because laws are every time they're added, no? Like every year you have new laws and more laws and more laws. And actually
And it's normally more.
which makes it more not only complicated, which allows you to fumble and change laws, because then you add a law to another law that already exists, and then it's easier to fraud the system actually by adding more laws than if it was just simple and basic.
Yeah, a lot of
That's what
people
I
that
heard.
know about it, that's what they say. It's
Yeah.
it's not so smart to, because a lot of times when they make a mistake, let's say, well, I am a big proponent of like liberalizing all of these laws, to simplify it so that the rules are like easier to see, to follow, and that the system is less complex and more like, it's just you know, easier to manage your life, and the rules are clearer, and there's no reason to deviate so much. Yeah, but the problem is that every time the politicians, let's say they see a problem, they want to fix it. They want to fix it because they want to be the ones fixing it, so that they can be reelected. And once they are reelected, they have power, and they have more power. But the problem is that it makes like a vicious cycle where there is a problem, they try to fix it. Most of the time, they don't fix the problem, they create another problem.
Give an
And
example. If
I
you
don't
make
know.
statements like that.
For example, in Spain, or in Argentina, or even in Mexico, there are always like these housing problems. No, it seems like rents are rising. There is not enough homes. People cannot. They have to move into very small
Also
places.
because of globalization. And
Also, it is a very complex subject. I saw like a conference not so long ago from this Spanish economist who was explaining it, and there's a lot that goes into it, like immigration and so on. But one thing is that they have made it, for example, in Spain, so hard for people to build.
Funny that you say that, because I was just talking about it with ChatGPT today. But continue. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
They have made it so hard for construction companies to build. Also, the raw materials that they use is also taxed, and that tax is passed in cost to the end consumer, which is just us, let's say, or the people. That basically it is hard for them to invest and put a lot of capital into this industry, because these industries are industries that normally invest, and then it takes time for them to see a return.
Yeah, because also with rent, it will take a long time, right?
Yeah.
And then because I was asking ChatGPT if housing in general is privatized, or if the government provides houses, and I guess, yeah, it's privatized most of the time, the majority of the time anyway. But yeah, due regulation, it is so hard to because the reason why they do that is because they want to, let's say, protect a certain neighborhood for it not to be overbuilt, no, because
Yeah.
maybe nature protection,
Or it's like
or for the neighbors
Yeah.
that don't want to see suddenly skylines
it's urban.
rising.
The use of the ground is not for businesses. It's for urban areas in terms of like housing. No, all of these are like law restrictions. No, but that it starts to create problems. No, like I cannot build houses, or I cannot be businesses like buildings in this area because it's housing. No, so that creates already a problem, because you could build there, and then you would have businesses moving there, and you can even have people living in those places, and they have their work clothes and so on. So they create a regulation, like the use of this ground in this area is just for housing. Okay, so I cannot build like
Offices.
offices there. That is one problem, no? Or they say things like, okay, we don't want these big apartment buildings. We just want two to three store buildings here, no? Okay, that means that now people, since population grows and immigration comes,
the cost is higher.
They need, yes, there is not enough offer, and the demand is higher, so the cost rises.
Exactly.
And then the problem with this is that the politicians might see a problem, no? Like, they are not constructing enough offices, but they blame it on the construction people, or they're blaming on
I don't
the businesses.
actually know if the government does that.
They would, or there's certain people from the political system, they would do. No, it's all because they want.
Yeah,
to
the reason
more
is in
money.
reality also rent prices go up because of supply and demand. If there's a hot area, let's say Mexico City, there's a lot more people moving in, population is growing, and you are not able to build higher, better, bigger. No, I'm sorry to say that, but then prices will go up. Actually, funnily, there was a time, for instance, in Dubai, I was reading today, that they had, even though you have a lot of capital, there are a lot of rich people, but because they had an oversupply of apartments, the prices went lower, of course, because every business that wants to sell anything, if there's so many competitors, the only thing you can do is lower your prices to get a customer. It's the same thing with houses and many other areas. So in reality, a lot of people are looking for the wrong culprit, I would say, about why certain prices or house prices, rent prices. It's not just about tourism coming in. Yeah, it's good, but if you were allowed to build houses, build higher, bigger, and you would embrace the change of development in your country, you would make a way better, you would make it fairer for also people that don't earn that money, and then it would even itself out. But as you said, because of government relation. But coming back to the Constitution, when you were talking about it, it's funny that you said that, because I mean, when I was in Europe, I was not so familiar maybe with as much American culture, or because like I'm not saying Mexican culture is the same as American culture, but
It is not.
it is not. But you hear a lot more about America when you're in Mexico.
Yeah, because we're next to them.
Exactly.
Yes.
So since I've been living here in Mexico and I've changed, before I would probably say I was way more socialist, democratic, also when you are living in Germany now, I can see all of this. You see all the I don't want to say propaganda, but it is some sort of propaganda of how they always portray, let's say, more Republicans, no, or like right wingers, no. So there is a specific way, but also because of the history of Germany, they are still very traumatized of the nationalistic party, obviously, that they tend to, not all, but it is a bit looked down upon, right? So I didn't know much about the Constitution. I didn't when I was living in Germany, I just told you that before, I didn't understand the concept of because Germany always says, yeah, these crazy Americans, they have guns and whatever, And I used to think that, why do they have guns? It's also so dangerous. And yes, it does lead to more accidents or whatever. But I never understood the concept. The reason why the people have guns is because you said it. It's in the Constitution, written for the people, for them to be able to protect themselves, eventually also against the government, because especially against the government, not just for, passing
Thugs.
thugs,
But also,
also.
like a little parenthesis on this, maybe in Europe it's a bit crazy to think about these things, even though maybe right now it wouldn't be so bad for some people in Europe to have guns and to protect them against like crime, because we have seen rising crime in Europe, whether some people want to deny it or not. But regardless of that, I kind of understand also the concerns. But if you live in a country where, like in Mexico, where you can have guns, but it's very hard, it's too hard. You pretty much have to being part
Of the narcos.
no, but this is like the people that get it illegally. No.
How?
I mean legally. You can have
okay.
guns legally, but it's very hard because you kind of have to have some kind of history in military or police and things like this for them to give you, for you to be able to buy a gun and have like ammunition and so on, and you need a permit, and so it's very hard. I've seen like maybe once or twice in my life that somebody has like a gun, and they were already connected somehow to military like
really?
institutions or things like this. But if you would live in a country like Mexico or like more dangerous countries, you would understand why a gun is needed. It's because you should have a right to protect yourself and your family, and the government does not do a good job at that, which is basically the reason why the government exists in the first place. One of the reasons that the government exists in the first place is to protect us from others. And they don't even do that well enough. But you were saying, what about the before that?
No, I'm just saying that I didn't understand I didn't understand it back in the days, because for me having guns was just no. But also it's different, I think, for European to understand it, because I remember one quote someone told me that he's like, "You Europeans, you are sheltered. You don't really know what danger in that sense is, no, because like you can go here down the streets, you have walls of faces of people that have been kidnapped. You don't see that in Germany. You have in the bus stations here in some public transportation, you can see sometimes pictures of people, and it's like a missing announcement. You don't have that in Europe so much, you know. So and the crime they have, yes, they have like knife crimes, and it's rising, obviously, but at least back in the days, I don't think there's, at least from my own experience, I have never really encountered so much crazy crime as here. You have thugs and really bad criminals and stuff like that, where they really, I mean, when I came here, every family has always told me, be careful, don't use public transport, even though I use the public transport, but so many say, don't use the public transport, you have to be careful, don't go out at night. And even though in Europe they say that, but
sometimes it's just like also this mentality of like everything is so dangerous and don't go out. But also it is dangerous, but it's a bit exaggerated sometimes.
It's true.
Like you can come to Mexico on vacation, nothing's gonna happen most likely to you.
Unless you go to Cancun. One time I was there and there was actually someone getting shot. I didn't see it, but I was there when it happened. So.
No, it happens. It's real.
It is real.
It's real. Most of the crime and most of the people that get killed with these things, not all, but are somewhat involved in these things. But either way, why would you want to be somewhere where there are shootings like between gangs and things like this?
Right.
Not because you can get hurt. And
yeah.
And then there is
even though in my twisted minds before, I was thinking, I would like to know some of these people, know how they think.
Well, it's definitely it's also like a woman thing.
About being into
like
psychopaths.
Like with the psychopath things, like these memes of like the men just watching fucking cartoons at night, anime or like some whatever, no? And then the girl is just like, why don't we watch this movie about a psychopath?
About a serial killer
that killed 20 people. It's so interesting.
I do find it interesting.
It is interesting, but it's like a bit weird, this obsession that some girls have with this. Actually, when you know somebody, I know some girls that are actually obsessed with this guy. Like they find them very, very attractive.
Really? Yeah. I mean, you know these. I don't know. There was this guy who shot this CEO of the health, the guy Luigi or something.
Yeah, they were like posting that he was handsome and so on.
I mean, every time there is a very pretty girl that gets in prison or a very handsome guy, everyone is always It's funny, no? This is the power of beauty when you think about it. If someone is good looking, even though they did a criminal deed, even then people feel sympathy in some odd way for them. This is really the power of beauty. And it doesn't last forever because we all age, but it is such a big currency, beauty.
It is definitely a currency.
Yeah, for sure.
It is. It is like this guy. I'm pretty sure maybe you remember or don't. This like guy who became a model because his mugshot became
The guy with the
viral.
blue eyes?
Yeah.
It's funny that it also went viral and everyone just knows about
Yeah.
him.
Also, I know more about it because I speak English, but not everybody in Mexico speak English. There's a lot of people that do, but not everybody. She, for example, tells me all the time that even though there are people that speak English, it's still a bit hard to make a normal life here because still a lot of people don't.
I would say the people that do speak English on majority are the ones that could afford a good school, because the schools here are not government, like you have government schools, but they are not so good,
No.
right? So most of the people that are able to speak
They
or
would
had
tell you that it is.
well, at least I heard from all the people that the public schools are not so good.
Yeah.
And mostly if someone's able to speak English or is able to go out and travel, they are already in the, let's say, if you want to say so, top 10% in, I don't want to say class, but in the society. Like they are already grow up in a better privileged, yeah, exactly, that's the word, a privileged household, which is kind of crazy because the difference in Germany is I didn't go to a good school. I just thought all the schools were like this, but I told you I
Do all people in Europe speak English or somewhat?
I would say the majority, yeah, especially in the northern country, mostly perfect. The only like maybe some in the Eastern Europe and Spain and France.
Yeah, the Spanish people have a bit of like a...
And the French. Portugal, again, speaks very well. All northern countries, as I said. Germany is doing okay, I think. And then Eastern Europe, maybe so la. But yeah, majority. I don't know what's with the French and the Spanish. I mean, of course, more and more speak, but I don't know. Maybe it's more difficult to pronounce. But there is like this common sense.
Or they don't have interest.
Or that, yeah.
There's always this meme of not like the Americans going to France and trying to speak French.
And they speak French back with you, and they don't care. I mean, French people are very proud people. They're very proud of their country. Like Mexicans also, they're very proud.
Do you have French viewers?
Probably.
Well, why don't we ask them?
Yeah,
are you proud people?
Yeah, I think so. French people are quite proud of their culture.
Of what being French.
Yeah, and of being French, and also rightfully so. They have a lot of good things, I think. You know, I think.
Well, they have a lot of history.
I think, I think every country can be proud. You know, I used to not understand national pride, but that's just because I don't have this feeling of national.
It's also because you don't belong anywhere.
I don't belong anywhere. I am just a birdie, like going from country to country and adapting so many cultures and views. So it's hard for me to pinpoint a place.
And also, even it's hard if you were at some in some place. Even it would be hard like that because, you know, your heritage is not.
The thing is, look,
like from Germany either way, for
sometimes, and I think some people don't realize, I speak perfect German, but my Chinese is so. No, my Chinese is so. My mother's German is so. Her Chinese is obviously very good. It's her first language. I mean, I even struggle sometimes probably to get messages across with my mother, to speak with her in a right. That is just a crazy thing to imagine. Yeah. That you cannot properly 100% communicate perfectly about all topics with your own parent.
Yeah.
You know? So, and when I was younger and I went to school, I remember sometimes when I was talking with Germans, there were sometimes things they said and I didn't know the words because I didn't have the chance to speak them and learn them. But my Chinese is also so basic that when I go to China, I cannot talk politics. Yeah. At this point, I think English is pretty good, but I still lack certain vocabularies. So it is weird. It's a weird thing. So that's why it's also hard. I look Asian, I like Asian food. I have also a more, I think, character parts mixture. Western for sure, more Western.
Yeah, you always say you don't look like traditionally Chinese, no?
Not so traditionally, but it's also because beauty standards shape, like Western beauty standards shape you when you're born there. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes you see white people that grew up in China and they like to be white and they put this makeup on the way Asian people do. It's very interesting. It's very funny. It's a very, it determines a lot, like your character and the way you grow up and what you like, your preferences is also stimulated a lot by the society and you grow up with. So,
Yeah, obviously. Mhm.
yeah, so I don't have that belonging feeling so much,
And
which
then-
also is nice because I guess it makes you a bit fluid and flexible to understand so many different cultures.
You're so funny sometimes. Like
Why?
when we are here and you tell me always, I don't know, at this point I feel like I'm Latina. And then you say, I don't think people notice that that I'm Asian or like from another place. Then I just look at her like this. Like, sure. And then she asked me, wait, do you think that if somebody looks at me, they know that I am not from Mexico?
Because
I'm like, yeah, obviously. They can look at your face and automatically know that you are not from here. You
I
look
do
Asian.
yeah, but some I don't know. Maybe that's just a feeling inside of me.
It is just a feeling.
It's just a feeling.
Unfortunately.
But that's the thing. Feelings don't always represent the facts. Facts don't care about
Facts
your
don't- And then you put a Ben Shapiro.
fucking Ben Shapiro.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
He made it pop culture, the central.
He made it
for
pop culture, yes. Although I'm not a big fan of him anymore right now.
I was never a big.
I was
fan of
never a
him.
big fan, but I kind of like still listened to what he had. I respected him because he was very logical about
He was
things.
very logical, but also, I mean, his voice is just so. I don't want to say anything bad, but personally, I think his voice just like.
So you're just being mean to
I don't
Ben
want to be
Shapiro.
mean. Sorry, Ben. I still respect you as a human, but. I don't know.
Mm.
And I don't see eye to eye with him on several things. But who do you? Doesn't mean I have to hate him just because I don't see eye to eye with him. No? So, and I think that's a good lesson anyway for people to learn. Just because someone is not exactly on the same page as you, you have to learn to also understand and give them grace and find a way to, not fill fuel into.
It's funny
more hate.
that you are very political now.
Mm.
I already kind of met you like this, but you always tell me that you didn't used to be very political now, and now you know all about it.
Babe, I mean, I have way too much time on my hand, and in the 3 years I didn't post, I was just doom scrolling. No, but no, it did start actually with the ex-boyfriend I had. Sorry to say. Sorry, I don't want to bring it up, but it's true. That's when I
That's fine.
started. Before when I was traveling in a van, I couldn't care less. I just didn't even know.
What did you care about?
I cared about
Like if you had free time, what were the
food,
things that you...
psychology. I would still be interested into maybe some scientific, maybe not so much scientific stuff. Psychology way more, motivational stuff. Like you see these
Food.
self-improvement, self-help. Then food, obviously, it's still there. I was never so
Pop
much.
culture things?
I was never so much into gossip. I never cared. I would still know some things here and there, but I never followed anyone specific. I was interested into traveling culture, so more. I would say if you want to say so, and I don't want to separate it, but maybe more topics in what females in general are attracted to.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not saying that there's not women out there that are, into politics, but I'm just talking about the mean, like the majority of women probably, as I said, do not pursue as much a finance career as males. It's just the reality of things. We don't have to sugarcoat it. Just because of interest differences, right? And
What was the introduction topic or the hook topic that made you start to...
it really came
Care about
slowly
these
because
topics.
I didn't really care but my ex was just watching videos all the time in the background, and I did listen to it. So at some point I formed ideas and opinions based on what I watched, and the more I heard, the more I got interested. And now I understand, because before I was so not interested into really 3 years ago you could ask me what a coalition is or the constitution. I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I didn't even know so much what the left and the right would even stand for. I didn't know any of this.
A lot of people don't care.
Yeah, but the thing why I care so much now is because it truthfully has an effect on your everyday life. It's not just random, I don't know, Hollywood gossip that you can just talk about someone's life and it really doesn't affect you. But when there's new laws coming out, now let's say Trump with tariffs or whatever, it does. If you're a business owner, it does affect your life. And you want to know. And you also want to know where the world is. I used to say, don't watch so much news because it's so negative. And of course, the majority of the time, it's quite negative. It is always some doomsday news of hating on each other and, I don't know, feeling a more hate and reporting about death and catastrophes and so on. I get it. But if you can emotionally detach a little bit, which is also a bit bad because then you detach so much emotionally from all the bad things that are happening, which you should normalize. Like you see a war happening there, you see another war happening there, and you think, oh, it's just another war. Your brain cells are just fried because you already got so used to it, which we shouldn't be. So it's always good to take time off.
There is, for example, this studies now that like the human brain is not necessarily like used to getting all of this like information and attention, for example, from social media. Like people are already like they can be seen by the world, no? And back in the day, people had a community of maybe at most 50 people that were
like
able
they know.
Yeah, that we're able to see them and that they are able to engage with. Nowadays, people just have, like, they know that they can be seen by millions of people, no? And that has some kind of effect in your brain as well.
Yeah, they said also that at this point in time, a person in reality, based on nature, right? I think we talked about it before. Based on nature, a human is not supposed to see itself unless you have the reflection of eventually a pond, which you wouldn't even see yourself so well. Like the story of Narcissist.
I don't know the English. Narciso.
Yeah, he saw himself not in the mirror but in the pond, right? I remember. So based on the...
I think so. I don't remember the story
because completely. With the invention of mirrors, we were able to see ourselves for the very first time.
It's funny because we did talk about it, and it seems kind of logical, but I also haven't dig so much into what is the effect of like seeing yourself
so much. I mean, you get more self-conscious. You see yourself more, and you compare it to others, so you are able to get a response of whether you're beautiful or not, and obviously with social media way more. So this causes you, I mean, maybe you don't so much, but also it's not like you watch yourself in the mirror barely. You don't.
Maybe it just gives you more of like this
consciousness about your looks.
This self-consciousness, also the looks, but also about yourself, no? Because you are able, like if you are able to see you, obviously you have this, obviously that this can also be like internal noise and a bit subconscious, not necessarily conscious. But I'm just like bringing it into consciousness because I'm just thinking about it. Like maybe it gives you a perspective that just as you can see yourself, other people can see you. Therefore, you become a bit more self-conscious about your actions and things like that. But I don't know. I'm just like guessing.
Well, I was just thinking, imagine, do you think that with us seeing ourselves, being able to see ourselves and our identity, no? I mean, besides, if, like, I wouldn't know I was Asian if I couldn't see myself. Do you think based on me seeing I am Asian, I would maybe feel more, I would relate myself more to Asian outside of me, eventually due to looks? Do you think I would act more, let's say, in a specific way because I can see me and I want to represent something.
Could be the case. I would say that even then, at some point, society itself would let you know. Like, even if you didn't have mirrors, maybe other people would be able to see that you would be different from other people, and they would point that out.
they would
It's normal
never-
to point out the difference.
But they
between-
wouldn't say, "Oh, your nose ratio is too big," or things like that. Like they might say, "Oh, you're
Well,
brown."
the thing is
or
that
you have
everything is
curly
just
hair, or you have Asian
contextual,
eyes.
no? It's contextual in the sense like big in regards to what?
Into
No.
norm.
It's like
into the
somebody would-
norm.
But the norm depends on what you're able to see more normally. Because if you were
Exactly, that's what is the norm.
yes, but you wouldn't have these thoughts so much if you were already in a society where most people looked like you.
Ah, that's true.
You would only be able to know these things if you were
Somewhere
integrated in a
else.
society where people do not look like you or things like this.
True.
I mean, at least we know that some animals are able to recognize themselves. when
They are like
Yeah, like monkeys.
gorillas. Yeah.
Yeah, mostly like but also other animals. Have you seen these videos of like the animal? They put like mirrors in the jungle, and the
You
animals
told
walk.
me about it.
No, they just walk and they see and they get scared sometimes at the first. And like a lion just is like, not a lion, like a tiger is walking and then he turns and there's a mirror and he sees himself and he gets scared. And a lot, or animals get aggressive because they think it's another like male or something like that. But monkeys tend to like, maybe at first be like this, but they kind of understand that it's
Monkeys are very
themselves.
smart
Yeah, they are.
animals.
They're
That's
very
why
smart.
in China, I mean, in China, monkeys are considered very smart.
Mhm.
My zodiac is monkey in the
Your
Chinese zodiac. So
My Chinese is rat.
even though I didn't know anything about politics 3 years ago, I caught up.
You got up. You are sometimes a bit too invested in these topics.
I am very invested, but what else can you do anyway in life? Sometimes it's just like, no.
Hmm.
And while at the same time, it gives you good things to talk about. The more you know, the more you can talk about different areas, right? It's
It's
nice.
also how you learn a lot, no? You just like to talk to people.
I love to, yeah. I mean, that's why at some point, if there is a possibility to have guests, at some point, if this show grows, that would be amazing. Me talking to, I mean,
think
or
you would
us.
thrive a lot in that.
Yeah. I think this is because that's something also people don't know about my van journey is I have documented places and what I was doing, like showering in the van or how I chopped wood or went surfing. And I've shown these things, but I have never put out a moment to record me talking with all the different people
different
I
people.
met. And they were so plentiful people from all spectrums, no? And I have never recorded because it was very private moments. Why would I set up suddenly a camera when I'm talking to somebody, right? But I could talk for 3-4 hours with people and I would just absorb and enjoy whatever they had to say. I would ask them a question. And I think I always thought, oh, this is probably one of my talents that I have to actually being able to ask profound questions to people. And I know I can talk big now, but for people to open up in a way that I seem trustful. Even with you at the beginning when we first met, and we just also suddenly talked about libertarianism I had no idea about, but I was very interested. And
She does have a bit of a gift for talking to people, in the sense like people just kind of open up to her. I've seen it.
yeah,
Not only it happened to me in a
with
way,
whom?
like people you know from my life.
Not so much. Really opening up. I didn't have really deep,
But-
profound.
No, but I can see them like how they start to open up to you and they start to tell. For example, I've seen introverted people talk to you, which normally wouldn't just start like expressing so much about, not necessarily about their intimate things, but maybe things that they like. Like you can see how they are engaged talking to you. Like, I don't know, there was this guy that was talking to you about art one day, no?
Oh, that's right.
No?
Yeah,
And things
yeah,
like
that's
that, it
right.
happens.
Yeah,
Do you think you are naturally open, or do you think also that has been kind of, like has been growing on you from your travels? Because in order for you to travel a lot, you see a lot of people, you see a lot of cultures, and maybe that opens you up to be more receptive and more open in general. Or you think it's natural?
I think I've always been pretty open. I was just shy when I was a teenager, but
You told me.
I was shy, but not when I was as a child, early teen. And then when I was 13, 14, I was not shy anymore. I was still very respectful towards elderly people, and I would still have this feeling towards older people, like respectful. But I think also it helped me when I was working. For instance, when I was younger, I worked in a call center. I had to talk, but just like the same phrase, no. So it's not like you're very engaged. But also when I was working as a waitress in my early adulthood, you just talk with so many people that you serve, and sometimes you talk with them more. But and then I had I was living in my apartment, and I opened it up for Airbnb so people could come to my living room and sleep on the couch. And I would have so many people coming every week from different countries and different places, and I would sometimes cook for them, and we would talk. And I told you I had this woman one time, she was in her 40s. She came to my house and we started talking for 2-3 hours, and suddenly she breaks out in tears, and I hug her and she hugs me because she was telling me about her breakup and her trauma. Or one time I had he was stuttering. He went to book the apartment where I was living to go on a marathon to challenge himself. And even he started to cry because we talked with him, because he was just saying, oh wow, the way I treated him just very normal and based on his stuttering and stuff like that. I think he just felt very hurt. And even just homeless people in general. I wish I could do it more in Mexico, but the language barrier is just difficult. But I love to talk to people. And even in Germany, every time when there was homeless people, I would always give them some sort of motivational speak. Because
Also, always with the motivational speak. Sometimes she's just this persona. You don't know
I'm
what
not trying to be. It's just
I'm not saying you're trying, just comes.
I just want to motivate people to help them and get out of their situation and to do better if I can. I would try my ways, and I know it doesn't always work, because at the end of the day, no motivational speaker can give you a new personality and a new brain for you to change. Change is so hard, but I still try. And sometimes I just waste my time and I just sit with the homeless. We drink a beer and we talk, right? So I have done that all my life when I was younger as well. Also, one time when I was with my girlfriend, I was supposed to go to her to help to renovate a hall for her wedding, or for like some celebration for a wedding. And then I met this guy on the metro. It was still in Germany, and he was asking me for money, but he didn't look like that's someone who needed money. And instead, I just asked him a question, and then I invited him for a coffee to just know his story and to talk to him. But then I think he got it wrong. He asked me if he could kiss me, and I said no. So I want to be nice, and then sometimes it's just like I'm just being nice. I'm not flirting with anyone. But I think sometimes with male, it can come across, my openness can come across as inviting or something, but I'm just trying to be
Which
nice.
is why you also have some crazy stories,
With people? With guys?
Yeah, like you told me about this story in Africa, no?
Yeah, but the majority of, not the majority, but some know, that... Yeah, I'm just always the thing is I'm very open-minded and very nice. When I'm talking to you, there's no agenda besides of my genuine interest into someone, personality, and as the human being they are, because I can learn, I can hear their stories. It is really entertaining. It fills me up with energy. I enjoy it. But it's because I'm an extrovert personality.
I also have interest, but it's hard for me to keep
the conversation going.
Interest. Sometimes.
This is funny. This is the difference between you and me. And then when you're not interested, you just are in your mind and you don't even listen to the people.
Yeah.
And this is something never happens. When I'm talking with anybody, I am in the moment and I enjoy it and I feel refreshed and I feel energized.
I feel drained.
That's why you're on the black side.
That's what. Yeah, that's why I'm in the black side, all like depressed.
Depressed. Yeah, that's exactly. But I have compassion for it because I know introverts tend to only engage with people that don't just talk small talk, right? I think the majority, even extroverts sometimes, but not all. I think genuinely people enjoy anyway going deeper than just talk surface level in general, you know?
Yeah, but that's a lot of extroverts don't. They just want to have fun.
I also want to have fun, but there's time for deep conversation and there's time to just go
Yeah,
out
but the
and
thing is that
dance.
we already know that you, from the extrovert realm,
Yes.
you are probably the less extroverted.
Yeah. Around introverts, I am very talkative and very engaging, but then around other extroverts, if they are very, very extroverts, I'm reserved. I'm more reserved because I also don't want to drag so much attention onto
You also
me.
don't like them so much. Tell them
No,
the
it's not like that.
truth. She's always hitting on this
I don't
extremely
hate.
extrovert.
Well, sometimes they're a bit loud. Sometimes they are just talking too much.
That's an understatement from her.
No, that's not true. I don't hate
Sorry
them.
to put you on the
It's
spot.
just that sometimes I just feel like they're very loud. You know?
Yeah.
And if they talk things that are not so interesting, then it's also a bit boring. Because at the end of the day, yes, I don't really care about how the weather is. But if you want to talk about why we have chemtrails in the sky, then sure, I'm all in. I'm all ears. Or why the sky it's blue, but we all know why it's blue.
Do we?
Do we? You don't know? Do you
I-
know why we have color in general in the world?
Yeah, it's all like the light reflection
Uneven.
and spectrum. Yes,
Yes.
I do know.
So
But
that's
some
the
people
reason.
might not know. Some extrovert people that don't care about these
Hey.
things might not know.
No.
No, I'm joking. It's like, but still, I've known actually people that don't ask this question often. I know that I've asked these kind of things when I was little. It's also like a cliche on the movies, the kid that asks why the sky is blue and like. But I did ask
I'm
these
still
things
that
because
kid.
yes, but
But except I'm just talking with ChatGPT.
there's people that don't. There's people that when they're a kid, when they're little, they just want to go out play with their friends with
But I think
sticks and.
I don't even remember if when I was a child I asked so many questions. I feel like I didn't. I feel like I just in general didn't engage in so much conversation with my parental figures.
Parental figure.
No, with my parents. You know, I had this book. I had like a little book, and I would sit in front of the TV, and there was this show. Wissen macht A is in German. It says, "Knowledge makes you go ah."
I mean, it sounds catchy, no?
Like Wissen macht A.
Okay.
So because every time you understand something, you go ah. You know.
my
when
only
you-
my only knowledge in German is saying "Ich bin ein Hund" because I was practicing with Duolingo and I
Yeah.
learned these words
Well,
for
very-
nothing
very
in
helpful.
reality, but I just know how to say "Ich bin ein Hund."
Very helpful. Anyway, so I was sitting in front of the TV to this show, and in this show, they would always give you 5 random knowledge. For instance, why is the croissant in this shape? Or why does...
is it?
Well, one story is because of the Turkish flag. It was originated in Turkey. But I think this is not the original story. I think it was... I don't know in which country it was, but it was somewhere in the medieval times when I still remember this. I remember long things, but everything that happened yesterday, I have no idea.
But your kids, you don't know where you left them.
Anyway, so it was because the bakers were baking these type of pastry in order to tell the tell the people living in the castles that there's like people coming to invade them. I think it was around that kind of story. Something about this. I'm
They
not
use the bread to tell
to
them.
secretly send a message that people were going to
Ah.
come and invade them or something.
I didn't know that.
And I think it was, but I think we have to recheck this just to make sure that I'm actually
Can
being
we put like
factual.
a fact check?
Fact check Jillaby.
Julie fact check.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so I sat there and they was always talking about some random topics. And I would sit in front of the TV after dinner and I would write in my book exactly what they were saying. It was very cute. It's very cute. Imagine I'm like a little child and I sit in front and I'm writing down knowledgeable things.
That was a bit
Uh,
anticlimactic.
yeah. Well, anyway, so this hour is over. That was a help from Bendy.
It's over. Ended.
It's
Just
over
cut it.
and cut. Look, like, guys, okay, I'm gonna tell you. I'm just trying to be fancy because you don't see the lower part of my body. But if you want to... What is this? It's like COVID times all over in the Zoom meetings.
You only need to see one thing. And it's this
Jalapeno.
ball.
And
Jalapeno.
the other big one, he is just laying.
Say something. What is this?
Maybe we should give him some food so he can do a final ASMR into the
we
camera.
say goodbye with...
With jalapeno. Wait, let me get something for him to snack. And then he can like ASMR this.
Okay, but I'm gonna have to... You know that he gets feisty, no?
Shh. Calmate. Jalapeno. It's all okay. You get your food.
Food.
Nah.
He also eats so fast.
He doesn't want... As I'm saying, he doesn't like to be cuddled. You
No.
cannot even hold him. Anyway, guys, so I had really actually a lot of fun in this conversation.
Me too.
It was a good one. It flowed. We didn't plan anything. It was chill. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
I don't think so. This is called the underachievers for a reason.
Well, yeah, that's the reason. I mean, look, we have brilliant ideas. I'm being too cocky again, right? We have good
She's a
ideas.
bit cocky. Yes.
We have good ideas sometimes. We talk about interesting topics, but at the end of the day,
We don't know anything.
we don't
We are
have. We have
children.
no ideas.
Do not trust our words. at all.
Exactly. What do we know?
We don't know anything. Just double check with ChatGPT and
Yeah.
Google whatever we say.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like we want to be right.
Yeah,
in
I don't
anything.
care. We're just having a conversation.
We're just having conversation. Okay, then, guys.
I don't have a. I don't. I
Are
cannot.
you finally saying bye, guys?
Nein.
Come on, see. Bye, guys.
Ich bin ein Hund.
One day we'll break him to be
You
more
cannot
enthusiastic.
break me.
I already broke you to the core.
I am almost 30 years old and I'm just still a C.
You're young.
This.
He's actually younger than me.
Yeah.
I already broke you. I broke your darkness. No, you know what I
I'm
broke?
not dark.
But you know, if you were an anime character,
Which one
you
would I
would be one of these tall, quiet boys that seem mysterious, which is very attractive.
I
to
haven't
me.
watched this anime so much, but it would be from like this solo leveling anime. You can put up an image. It's just like this, like a tall guy.
That is dark. This is I mean dark because he dressed dark and just quiet. But then they meet a little cute girl, and then their whole persona and image is broken.
No creo.
Yes, exactly like that. Because if you would now, and the world knows now how you are. But if they would meet you on the street, you wouldn't be so open. You would be just like this.
Probably.
Yeah, but
It's not on purpose. It's just I am like this.
I know. I like it.
Bye.
Okay, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.